Hey everyone, Kyle here with Kyle Kind of Vlogs. I almost said Bussin' Bethunes, but I caught myself right there, which is an improvement. I used to always hork it up, so at least I did get it somewhat right that time. But today we are doing a question and answer video. I really appreciate each of you who submitted a question. Got some great questions. I'm looking forward to this, and I hope you are too. Some of them, made me think a little bit. I had to think a little bit, and then some of them made me bring in my partner in crime over here. There was several that had her in it, so I figured why not get it straight from the horse's mouth, as they say, or Jen's mouth this time. Not comparing her to a horse, just doing the saying that I've heard throughout my life. But yeah, guys, thank you for joining me today. I appreciate you as always. I believe around 20 did get close to my 20 question mark, so I'm not going to waste any more time, and we're going to just jump right in, because that's the only thing I know to do. First question: how much do gigs pay that you work while on the road? For example, the beet harvest. That's a good question. So that's basically my most recent work camping gig opportunity. So I was a harvest lead this year at the beet harvest for Michigan Sugar. I believe the hourly rate was $26.25, which was great. I mean, yeah, it was awesome. I made a lot of money in a very short amount of time. Worked my ever-loving butt off, but it paid extremely well. I was very grateful for that. How about you? What did your gig pay? Because you were there too.
I was actually there a week or two longer than
You were.
my contract was. And mine was $500 a week, and it ended up being for about 8 weeks. So I got to still work on my things at home, still run the bus, do all the things here, so that way you can go out and work.
I had a follow-up question from that same person. What is the monthly cost of bus life? That is a tough question to answer. I'm just going to be 100% transparent. I could give you our monthly bills that reoccur, but we're always doing something different. You know, we stayed 5 weeks at my parents'. It didn't cost us anything to stay there. We're in Thousand Trails right now. That typically doesn't cost us anything to stay there. It depends what we're doing. Are we boondocking? Are we staying in campgrounds? I honestly don't have a good answer for you. I wish I could. We have a cell phone bill. We have car insurance, bus insurance, the kids' school, food, gas, your typical life bills. But as far as a breakdown, maybe that's something I can do at some point, but I would completely be guessing, to be honest with you. Question for you, Kyle. What happened to your Blackstone? I miss my Blackstone. I actually really, probably on a weekly basis, because when I make, again,
I miss your Blackstone.
I do. I do a lot of cooking with you guys, and I've mentioned it a lot because it's just so nice to have such a large cooking area. When we were in New Mexico last year, I had stored it in the barn while we were there. We had a rat infestation. Like, it was bad. Like a mouse, rat, I don't know what they were. I never actually saw them. So I loaded up, didn't pay any mind to it. So when we got to school at UP, I went to drag it out. I was going to cook on it like I normally do. And I go to open it, and there's rat droppings in there. Yeah, not exactly desirable. So short answer is, yeah, I chucked it. I probably could have cleaned it, but that would have always literally been in the back of my mind that I'm eating off something that a rat crapped on. So yeah, that's the short answer. Well, probably the long answer, but yeah, it's in a...
But it wasn't just like a little bit of rat poop.
Yeah,
like, a couple little droppings. It was... We didn't really set traps.
No.
We were kind of like in a hurry.
Yeah.
And so it was awful.
Now, when we do go back to New Mexico, I do plan it to be like a rat graveyard, because I put out so much rat bait and poison, which apparently it was a bad year for him. My neighbor even said like he had a problem with them. But that's what happened to the Blackstone. May it forever rest in peace. Okay, here's another one. Sorry, my phone's down here. If you just don't mind me, I'm reading off of this. When was the moment you knew Jen was your forever girl, and how long did you date before you got married? Big wedding and a theme. All right, we'll take these one at a time. Me and Jen moved fast. We and Jen moved really, really fast. I had been in a fairly long relationship, 2.5 years. I was young. I was a teenager with this other girl. We had split up. I'd been split up for 6-8 months, I believe, or something like that. And I met Jen, went on a date. I believe on the third date, I told her I loved her, or I was falling in love with her, or I don't remember the verbiage exactly, but it was around that sort of thing. So yeah, we moved quick. We did not waste any time.
So that's when you knew I was your forever girl?
I think I don't have that one moment that I can say that, but I think that was the segue into it. Like I can't imagine another time that would have been like, we built off of that. It was I cared for her, and we basically spent every single day for the last almost 20 years together. So somewhere along that 20-year period, within that first couple of years, I would be answer that one. How long did you date before you married? So we dated for 2 years to the day before we got married. We met. Our first date was on May the 27th of 2006, and we were wedded. I don't know, is it wedded or wedded? Wed. We were wed. I guess you don't have to add the ed because wed kind of covers it. What do you call that? Anyway, doesn't matter.
I think they get the point.
You get the point. 2 years after that, so we were wed in fabulous Las Vegas, Nevada, on May the 27th of 2008. So again, we got married in Vegas. I believe her best friend at the time and her husband, my parents, and my grandmother, Granny, and Papa came out there. So I don't think you would consider that a big wedding. 5 years later, was it 5 years later? Who's in here? 10.
10.
Wow. 10 years later, we had a vow renewal. I would say, consider a relatively large vow renewal.
We were planning our wedding, and it was going to be in September. It wasn't going to be on our anniversary. And it got to be so much. People were arguing and just entirely too much drama. So this guy comes to me and says, hey, can we move our wedding date up 4 months so that we get married on our anniversary? And can we go to Las Vegas? And so that particular day, I had it with wedding planning, and I said, yeah. And so we moved it up to Vegas. But the caveat was that we would get to have a 10-year vow renewal, and I would get a big poofy dress, and it would just be amazing. And hindsight is that we didn't need the vow renewal.
Yeah, it was rough after that. Roughest stretch of our marriage was after that 10-year vow renewal for the next few years. It was rough times. Question: what is your passion? That is a great question. I think my passions in my life have changed throughout my life, which I think could be said for most people. Currently, I absolutely love music. I can't think of anything else that I love more than music besides my wife and my family. But from a passion or a hobby standpoint, I absolutely love music. Bluegrass, folk, low underground country, rock and roll. I listen to classical, usually at night or in the evening when I'm cooking dinner. Like sometimes you guys, I'm sure you see me with headphones on. I'm typically listening to classical. If I'm in depression, I listen to a lot of classical music. It really makes me feel better. I absolutely love it. I love YouTube. I absolutely, and I think about YouTube all the time. I talk about it all the time. I don't know. There's just something with me that I absolutely love. I don't know that I'd call it a passion per se, but I do love it. I love trying to figure out the puzzle of YouTube. Jen thinks I'm crazy. She's like, just film the damn video. But I'm always like, I overanalyze so much. Like, you would not believe the amount of energy and effort I have put into just analyzing YouTube. For what I don't really know. And I really love pickleball. It's a growing thing for me. I think I do enjoy it. It came out of left field for me. I never even heard of pickleball until I became full-time RV. I never knew it existed. But as a passion, music, absolutely. Final answer, 100%. Where were you born and raised? I was born and raised in the Tampa Bay area. I was born in Brandon Regional Hospital in January 26, 1986.
That is insanely specific.
Hey, I'm not leaving anything out here. These are questions these folks want to know. I'm going to make sure they get the full picture.
You're going to give them your blood type?
I don't even know that, so I wouldn't be much help there. All right, I have a question for your Q&A. It's a 2-part question. All right. What camera or cameras do you film with, and how do you get shopping cart shots that you do when you go to the store? I would love a shout out for my channel. Absolutely. So Patty's Place, I don't know if that, hopefully that's your channel. Go check out Patty's Place. She's so sweet. She leaves me a lot of sweet comments. So I don't know what Patty does, but she's a nice person. I definitely think you should go check her out. As far as camera goes, I went to grab it to show you the camera, but I'm literally filming on the camera, so that wouldn't have worked out so well. It's a DJI Osmo Pocket 3. Love it. Honestly, I have a $3,000 to $4,000 camera sitting right over there that has dust on it this thick because this thing just works. It's simple. You flip the screen open, you press record, and it does the rest. Mind you, I think she's on the way out, as a lot of you have seen, and I've seen some comments. It's been getting blurry. The colors are off. I've dropped it a few times. That is the one downside to this camera. It's very fragile. It's a gimbal type camera. So if you look it up, you'll look at it. But it is a great camera, but it is very fragile. You have to be very careful with it. It is a great camera, though. The fourth generation is coming out anytime now, and I do plan on getting that. But I do like it a lot. I highly recommend it for vlogging. Because you just press play, and it does a really nice job. And it has a wireless mic, which you guys have seen me fight with the mic all the time. It works good, but it's just the mounting. It's where I struggle with it. How do you film the shopping cart scene? So, you know how you have the kid slide where the kid's leg goes through and there's this flap, especially at Walmart, it's like this blue flap. So I set that down and I set the camera on it and I just adjust it up just enough where you can see the bar because I want you guys to know that it's in a shopping cart and just let her fly. And that is the beauty of this camera. It just works. And when you're vlogging, it's one less thing to worry about. You can just press record and just let the camera work. As you Theodore's chowing down with some water over there right now. All right, I got another multi-parter here, and I will do my best to answer. My question is, what health insurance do you use? I don't have health insurance. I don't have health insurance. I don't even know how much I want to elaborate on that, but we don't have health insurance. It's just unaffordable and honestly kind of unattainable for us right now. I've had it before. I've paid for it out of pocket. And unfortunately, it's unaffordable for me. Well, we just can't afford it. We just pay cash when we go to the doctor. You grew up near Plant City. Have you ever eaten at Johnson Barbecue? We think it's the best since you... Okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm not going to say I grew up eating there, but a young adult, I ate there quite a bit. I do like it. I like their pork. I really like their barbecue sauce, and they do or they used to anyway, the baked potato, barbecue baked potatoes that are really good. And they used to, on Friday nights, they would do a prime rib, like a smoked prime rib dinner. No, it's good. I like Johnson's. It's a solid stop for sure. All right, since your kids are growing up, are they ready to stay in a home, drive a car, get a part-time job to make their own money? I would think as a teenager, getting a driver's license, hanging with friends from school, and social events would be what the kids would be fun. Good question. You got to be mindful. Our kids have lived this way for 6 years. And then they had COVID right before that. So almost 7 years, they haven't really been to a traditional type school. So you got to understand our kids have grown up differently. Their friend groups are different. Ben still has a lot of his friends from when he went to traditional school. They game together every day. They text, they talk on the phone, they play whatever game, I don't know what games they play. Molly, it's currently what we're doing now. We're at a campground where a lot of her friends that she's made while on the road are here. So it just looks different, We don't necessarily live a traditional societal life. Our kids go to school every day. They go hang out at the movies. It's just different.
Well, and like things like prom, right? With that, they have events on the road with like other full-time families. They do a specific event every year where just the teenagers get to go to this event and they get to experience prom. As far as driver's license, Ben's going to be getting his permit next month when we leave. And so that's something we're already planning on doing.
It's just different. It just looks different. The finite details are just different. All the things are still accessible. They just look a little different.
Same opportunities. They just have a different makeup to them.
All right. Hi, Kyle. My question is, did you have depression before your son's accident, or was it a result of the accident? I know Jen suffered a lot of childhood trauma, so this tragedy only exacerbated her anxiety. Good question. I think I've had a form of depression most of my adult life for various reasons. But the accident definitely, I think, was the trigger that kind of put it into full force. And I didn't know it for many years, probably almost a decade, So I basically untreated depression for many, many years. But absolutely, I think there was something underlying there beforehand. Obviously, probably not to the severity of what it was after the accident, but for sure, I think something has kind of always been there. Do you have any plans to travel into Canada? I recommend the Icefields Parkway between Banff and Jasper National Parks. Absolutely. Banff is on my one of my bucket list items. Jasper was up there too, for sure. By all means, I want to travel as much in Canada as I can, and we'll get there. It just hasn't worked out for multitude of reasons where we really can yet. I stepped footed to Canada for a couple days, Niagara Falls, but that's the extent of my Canada travels, which I don't even know that I've considered that Canada travels. I did do it in the dead of winter though, so I think I earned some points.
You get bonus points.
I get a couple bonus points of that, and it was no joke, a freaking whiteout. So seeing Niagara Falls in the dead of winter with snow everywhere was pretty cool. But yeah, Jasper and Banff is way up there. It just looks like one of the most beautiful places I've ever seen in the world. So I can only imagine what it's like in person. What is the daily routine for dogs with playing, exercising, potty time, and walking, and why only one food bowl? So I guess I'll go in order. So we rotate the dogs. So we try to walk them 3 times a day. We rotate the chore with the children. And we do pay them. I want to preface that it's one of the pays, actually the highest paying chore we have. So currently Molly is walking the dogs, and I do try to give. A lot of you see me walk Kevin a couple of times. Every other day, try to walk Kevin. Jen does the same with Theodore. Wheezy doesn't really care. Like, is that bird gonna stop?
The dinosaurs are out.
Theodore is like giving it the death stare right now.
Oh yeah, Theodore's not. It knows.
Hopefully the camera is not too loud on the camera. Either way, it is what it is. Wheezy really doesn't care. Like we'll take her on walks, and she's like, I just kind of want to go inside and lay on the couch. She just doesn't really care. Chico's the same way. He's like, he pees, he poops, he's right back at the door, ready to go. Even when we're in New Mexico and they're free range, that's kind of what they do. New Mexico's a whole different story. We open the door and they go. Like they can run as hard as they want for basically as long as they want. The food bowl, that's what we've always done. They've always had a communal food bowl, and it works. It would be the pecking order.
They have their own pecking order.
Yeah, they kind of have just worked it out. It's shifted. At first, Theodore was the complete alpha with everything. Kevin has kind of become the alpha of the food bowl, I think. So he usually goes first. But yeah, it's just always worked, and I could not even imagine trying to change it at this point. That would be absolute and utter chaos.
But I think they've worked it out for themselves, though, because like Kevin, and during the day, so they get their scoop of food at night, or not scoop, but they get their food bowl filled up at night. And then Kevin goes first, and then there's Wheezy, and then Theodore comes in, and then Chico kind of goes in and does his thing.
He's a grazer.
Yeah, so there's not really any food aggression. If there were food aggression with them, I think it would be a different story. We would have to have different feeding times. Yeah. But they all eat when they're full. They don't gorge themselves. So it's just a system that works for us.
Well, I think we started when they were puppies. Yeah. That's all. They don't know anything else. So, and then we do treats. We'll get to a comment about that in a minute. With we bought them this turkey jerky from Costco, and they really look forward to that. And we also, every night I cook chicken, which is most nights. I usually slice them off a little bit of chicken breast, and they always like that too. My question is, was Jen a dog groomer before Bus Life? What was your profession? Where did you get your knowledge to fix things? So Jen was a dog groomer. Yep, that was one of the processes of moving into Bus Life, is she had her own salon, and we decided to close that up. With COVID looming, and we didn't know at the time what was to come. It probably was a blessing in disguise, to be honest with you. I've done a lot of stuff in my life. I don't know that I would consider myself professional at any of them, but I have done a lot of stuff. When we did decide to go on the road, I stayed home with the kids a lot. I pretty much took them to school, shuttled them around. I helped her in the salon when was necessary. And we did own a portfolio of residential rental properties, so I kind of would help manage those, do light maintenance and stuff like that. But I've been a farmer. I grew up on a farm in Dover, so I farmed for a few years with my family. What else have I done? I worked for a company called Gordon Food Service, where they basically sold to restaurants. I worked in the distribution facility there. So I've done a barrage of things over the years, which leading into the end of the question, I think that's why I know how to fix stuff. I've done a lot of stuff. I worked at the port, so that was a good one for me. I learned so much there that I realized, as a later in life, because it was a job that I did a little bit of everything, so I had my hands on equipment, machinery, tools. I was fixing stuff. So I think, my dad was always a mechanic. So I just kind of always been around that sort of thing. And I just have picked it up as little bits and pieces here as I go throughout my life. Question for your upcoming video. Do you and or Jen believe in ghosts, aliens, Bigfoots, etc.? If so, have you had any experiences? I'll go first and then I'll let Jen. So, ghosts. I guess I'll answer as a whole. I have a quote that I love to quote when it comes to aliens. It seems like it would be an awful waste of space if we were the only ones here. I think that was from Contact. I love that movie, by the way. Contact with Jodie Foster. Great movie. I believe they said it would be an awful waste of space if we were the only ones here. I don't think we're the only ones here. I don't know what it is. I don't know what they look like. I don't know what their capabilities are or where they are or if we will ever actually see them. But I would be hard-pressed to believe that in this entire galaxy that we're the only ones, the only intelligent life. I just have a hard time believing that. It's just my opinion. Bigfoot. I've done a lot of traveling. Been a lot of traveling all over this country. Been to a lot of great Bigfoot hotspots. Yet to see any trace of Bigfoot. Not seen him. Not saying he doesn't exist. I just haven't seen him. I think it's more of a folklore, kind of just a fun tell for people to get excited about. But who knows? Maybe he's out there.
I believe that nothing is impossible. But you don't really know. You can't prove that it's not.
Nope.
Right? And we had an experience in the desert last year. I swear we saw a UFO. We were on top of the deck, and Kyle had the billy strings playing, and we look off to the side, and there's this really weird red light, and it's just like floating there. There.
It was floating there.
That being said, we were like 60 miles from the proving grounds is that near Yuma?
Yes.
Yeah. So it could be some crazy military experiment as well. That was the closest I came to like an actual, like seeing an alien.
I can say if I were to ever pinpoint a place that I think aliens would show up in this here country, Quarantine, Arizona would be high on that list. If you've never been there, you ever go, you would understand why there is nothing there. I mean, you're right between Phoenix and LA, 2.5 hours, 3 hours from either one of them, and that's it. You are in slap dab in the middle of nowhere. So if I was an alien, I wanted to kind of peek in and see what us crazy earthlings are doing, I would probably pick that place there. Kyle, have you seen the new RV motorhome by Kia? It's so cool, like nothing I've ever seen before. I have not. I haven't heard of that one. I'll have to look that one up. And there's another one. Oh, so I already answered it. What kind of work did you do before bus life and living the nomadic life? So I do want to give you the question. So yeah, I worked, helped Jen a lot, stay-at-home dad sort of in a sorts. Kind of just did whatever. And then we did have our real estate that I kind of kept up with.
You farmed before that.
Farmed before that.
You had a fruit stand.
I have done a bunch of stuff. I have done a whole bunch of stuff. And probably still will continue to do a whole bunch of stuff throughout my life. I get bored very easily. Does the bus have any type of air purification system or air ionizer? Just curious because of the puppers. We've had them in the past. Really all we have now is the dehumidifier. Mind you, we have poodles. I mean, 3 of the 4 are poodle breeds, and they don't shed. Our dog, we get the poodles that don't really shed. Chico sheds a little bit. Occasionally, Kevin has shed some. And allergy wise, none of us have any issues from them. We've always done fine with them.
And the mini splits do really well, and you clean the filters regularly.
Yeah. I would like to know how you and Jen met. So we met in 2006 on Match.com. Back before the online dating world was what it is today. It was much more of the Wild West back then, I guess. Mm-hmm. I think you had Match. What was the other one?
Plenty of Fish.
eHarmony. eHarmony, that was the big one. I went on eHarmony. I've just never been I've always been scared of girls. So I guess online dating was right up my alley. I didn't really know how to approach a girl or talk to a girl. I didn't go to bars, so it's like, I don't know, how do you meet a girl? I found Match.com, and I guess up to this point it's worked out pretty good.
Not too bad.
Did the Oreo cookie treat jar survive? Haven't seen it in any videos lately. I was just curious. It survives. I will survive.
But we had to put it on the counter because Wheezy figured out, like, the night
They're over here sniffing it right
that it
now.
was over there. We hear, and they're all.
Yeah, they're ready.
I
think they're about dry. Are they running out? Yeah, there's a
I
couple.
got enough to give you guys each a little piece. So we had to put it over on the counter if we wanted it to live.
Yeah, oh God, that thing would have been smashed in a million pieces that night.
Just two puppies?
Yeah, which is a shame because it fit really well there, but she was not having that.
Just two puppies want some treats.
Do you have any future plans for your New Mexico property? Cabin, house? I don't mind if you post my question. Good question, Stacy. I don't know. I don't know. You know, we've kicked around the idea of many times. I do want a house. I do. I would like a house of sorts somewhere. Don't necessarily know it's New Mexico. To have a place to go home to go to at certain times. I don't ever see myself being fully stationary in a house again. I just don't. I just don't think that would work for me. I know it wouldn't work for her. I don't know. You know, it's a good question. You know, it's definitely something we've talked a lot about. You know, the problem in New Mexico is it's very rural. It's very remote. You're out there. I mean, you're an hour from a reasonable sized town. You're at almost 2 hours from a good sized town. But we'll see. You know, we're not discounting. We're not counting it out because we do like it out there. We like New Mexico. It's beautiful.
Well, I mean, I love our property now for just the kind of being able to go plug the bus up and just it's ours. You know, I do think down the road a house would be a good idea, an investment, because we can go spend a couple months at a time and just also spread out just in a house. Although I think our kids will just all end up sleeping in the living room anyway.
So another question. Somebody says, one day hopefully you will. Would you say it's easier to live in a bus, or do you miss living in a house? So I'll answer that one first. Easy or no? Absolutely not. It's nothing easy about what we do. You know, I think we've gotten good at it. You know, we've gotten pretty good at it, but it's not easy. You know, we're 9 living things in 300 between 300 and 400 square feet. But it's saying that we've adapted to it. You know, this is home. This is where we live. This is where we sleep. It's where we eat. It's where we cook. It's where we relax. You know, so for us, it is home. But I do miss a house a lot sometimes. You know, there's certain things about a house that you just can't get in a bus. You know, there's a certain degree of privacy that you just can't get in an RV, a bus, a camper, a van, whatever. So there are times that I absolutely miss that. You know, I miss a pool. I miss my pool. I loved our pool. I love to swim. Yeah, for sure. There's absolutely factors. There's things that I miss, especially in the winter, you know, when it's snowing. It sucks being a bus. It's just not fun. It's just not good, you know, for a lot of reasons. So for me, absolutely.
I mean, to be fully honest and transparent, when we do get a house, I'll probably still spend the majority of my time in the bus. I love my bus. But in saying that, you know, we do talk to the kids a lot on how they're feeling and if they want a house. As a matter of fact, we just had this conversation a couple weeks ago. Yeah. And Molly's like, no, I want my backyard to change. And Ben is like, I don't care about a room. I like my small bed.
As long as his Wi-Fi works.
Yeah, he said, as long as there's good internet, I don't care where we live. That's what he said. And so Eli, I do think Eli is more along the lines of Kyle, that they would like a place to go to for like 2 months at a time. He said, because I think mostly all of us, we don't want to be confined anywhere. Like we want the option to be able to move along when we want to. But I I like my bed. I like my routine.
bunk.
I like my bunk. I like my space. I'm content.
Oh, that's it.
That was it?
That's it. That's almost 20 questions.
Wow.
I mean, 35 minutes on here.
Look at you.
Not edited content, but yeah, guys, thanks for participating with us. That was fun. I try to live pretty open. I try to live through example. I try to be open. I try not to shy away from hard questions. If they're asked in a respectful way, I'll pretty much answer whatever. Because at this point in my life, I don't really have anything to hide. I have very little regret. I don't really have anything to hide. So, but yeah, I appreciate you participating and submitting these. That was fun. Hopefully, you learned a little bit about me and Jen. And but yeah, that was fun. I appreciate it. Look at this guy right here. Look at this guy. Yeah, we're talking about you. He's perched up on my driver's seat. There is a lot of dog activity going out there right now. Got Wheezy over here. She's still waiting on another turkey.
Would you guys like one more little treat?
Oh no, they're gonna want us to make more videos if they get all these treats.
Oh my goodness! Come here. I'm gonna split it up into the pieces. Yeah. All right, to Wheezy. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
There we go. Would you like this one?
No, what good puppies. But thank you all for joining me today. I do appreciate it and the participation, and that was fun. I enjoyed answering those questions, and yeah, we'll see you tomorrow. We will be back here tomorrow doing this very thing. And oh yeah, I did want to let you know the bus did start today. So if you watched the previous video, you saw my little issue there. Those batteries, I think I just need to run this bus and get them nice and charged. I think they'll be just fine. So yeah, it fired right up. So we're good to go there. I'm gonna still cross my fingers because I don't want to jinx myself. Got this camera. Gotta milk this baby along a little longer. But yeah, guys, be well, and we will see you tomorrow. And take care of yourselves and each other. And we will talk soon. Bye bye, guys.